I'm going to start the class. Now, yes, Raj had given me one question. In the question, I'm going to read the statement of the question, and according to the statement, I will draw the question. So that is the question not given in NCERT book. It is taken from the R.S. Agarwal book. So I'm going to explain that. It is given that triangle ABC is a right angle at A. So according to the first statement, one triangle is there ABC. So I'm going to draw that triangle ABC, and it is right angle triangle. So here I'm going to draw a right angle triangle. Suppose that here it is the triangle ABC in which A is right angle. It means that 90-degree angle is at A. So it will be like that, ABC. So ABC is a right angle at A. It means here it is 90-degree. Such that AB equal to AC. It is given that AB and AC are equal. Here I am going to write this also what is given in the question, so it will be easier to explain. It in the question it is given that AB equal to AC, that is given AB equal to AC, and one more thing is given, angle A equal to 90-degree, that is given in the question. Bisector of angle C. So angle C is here, and in the question it is given that a line which is going to bisect angle C. So suppose that if I am going to draw it like this, so here it is given in the question, it is CD. So it is D. So the bisector of angle C, it is going to intersect AB at point D. Now you need to prove. It is also given that CD is bisector of angle C. CD is the bisector of angle C, it is given, and what you need to prove? You need to prove that AC plus AD, it is equal to BC. You need to prove that AC plus AD equal to BC. So students, whatever given in the question, what you need to prove and what is the diagram for the question, all I had drawn. So again, you are not supposed to write the questions, whatever the things given in the question, that all the things I had written. Now here you need to prove AC. First I will find that where is the AC. AC is here, AD. You need to prove that AC plus AD, it is equal to BC. So that you need to prove. So student, to solve this question, one construction is there. So that I am going to do here, construction. One construction is there, and the construction is, if here you need to draw a perpendicular. Suppose that it is DE, that I am going to draw from my side, that is not given in the question. So construction is there, draw DE, that is perpendicular to BC. What you have done? Extra in that diagram, you have drawn that DE on the BC and it is perpendicular. Perpendicular means here it will be 90-degree. Perpendicular means from D to BC you are going to draw a line segment which is perpendicular to BC. It means here it is 90-degree. Okay, so students, any problem up to here? That is the construction that I have drawn from my side. Okay, now here I am going to get a triangle CAD and a triangle CED. I am going to take these two. Now I am going to give the proof. In the proof, first I am going to take these two triangles. So here I will write in triangle CAD, in triangle CAD and triangle CED. I am going to take these two triangles. Now I am going to find what the things are equal. Here you are going to get it is 90-degree and here it is also 90-degree. So one angle are equal in both the triangle, 90-degree, 90-degree. It was given in the question, it is 90-degree and you had drawn a perpendicular, so that's why it is 90-degree. So in both the triangle, one angle are equal. So here you can write angle CAD, angle CAD equal to angle CED. Region you can give in the bracket each 90-degree. Each angle is 90-degree, that's the region. Now second, here CD is the bisector. In the question it is given that CD is going to bisect angle C. It means if CD is the bisector of angle C, so this angle ECD equal to angle ACD. These two will be equal, and angle ECD is the part of this triangle and angle ACD is the part of the second triangle. So here you can write angle ACD, angle ACD, it is equal to angle ECD, ECD. Region you can give CD is the bisector of angle C. You can write CD is bisector of angle C. So that is the region. It means that here two angles of this triangle are equal to the two angles of other triangle. So here I got the two values are equal. Now what is the third? Any of the student? That is the common side. Yes. Here CD is the common side for both the triangle. CD. Here you are going to get CD and CD. In both the triangle CD are there. So here you can write CD equal to CD, that is common side. Common side. So here I got two angles and one side are equal. So it shows that triangle CAD congruence to triangle CED. And which criteria is applied here? That is AAS, angle side. So by AAS criteria both the triangles are congruent. So if students both are congruent, then by CPCT you can write CA equal to CE. That can be written CA or AC equal to EC. Both are the corresponding parts. So here you can write, it shows that AC equal to EC. If I am going to write here AC, so that will be EC. So AC and EC are equal by CPCT. Students, any problem in this statement? Okay. So here I am going to make it equation 1. I am going to make it equation 1. Now next, if I am going to take AD here, AD will be equal to, from here, if I am going to take AD, that will be ED, yeah, DE. So here you can write AD equal to DE, that is also by CPCT. So that is the equation 2. I am going to write these two equations. So if you want to write, you can write it from here. I will erase. Yeah, that is visible here up to downside. Also you are going to see that board. Okay. So I got, actually from my side there will be no any problem, student. So whatever the network related problem is there now, so that may be the problem. So again I will upload the same video in the Google Classroom. So again you can find the same video from there also. Okay, students. So after this, if I am going to take the triangle BDC, now I am going to take the triangle BDC. First I will start from the very beginning. Okay, in the very beginning it was given a triangle ABC. In the very beginning the statement was that in a triangle ABC, right angle at A, here it is 90 degree. And it was given in the very beginning that AB equal to AC. Here AB and AC are equal. So students, if it is 90 degree and AB and AC are equal, so what will be the value of these two angles? If these two sides are equal, so their opposite angles will be equal. So this angle and this angle both opposite angles of equal side, and both are equal. So if it is 90 degree and these two angles are equal, so what will be the individual value of these two angles? 45. Okay, very good. So that is 45 degree, and here it is also 45 degree. Reason is that it is the isosceles triangle and one angle is 90 degree, so sum of other two angles will be 90 degree. Reason is that 180 degree should be the sum of triangle. So here if these two sum is 90 degree and both are equal, so individually each will be 45 degree and 45 degree. It means that here it is 45 degree and angle B is here, so it is 45 degree. Now students, what is this angle? What is this one? That is 90 degree. Okay, very good. That is the perpendicular. So in this side it is 90 degree, as well as from this side also it is 90 degree. So what will be the value of this angle? If it is 45, it is 90, so it will be that is 45 degree. It is 45. So whatever the triangle EBD I am going to get, in this triangle it is 90 degree, it is 45 degree, it is 45 degree. So if I am going to draw this triangle separately, again whatever that smaller triangle is there, that I am going to draw, it is like this. It is E, it is B, it is D. It is 45 degree and it is also 45 degree. So students, if in this triangle two angles are equal, then two sides will be also equal. If these two angles are equal, so which two sides will be equal? B and ED will be equal. Reason is that if in a triangle two angles are equal, then opposite sides of that equal angles will be equal. So opposite angle of this ED side and opposite angle of the angle D, opposite side of the angle D, that will be BE. So from here you will get DE equal to BE. DE equal to BE. So I had explained that how DE equal to BE will be there, but you need to give the statement. Whatever the explanation I had given, that you need to convert it in the statement. And here it is equation 3. That I had given the explanation how DE equal to BE. So DE and BE are equal. Now I am going to erase that upper portion. Now students, in the proof, what you need to prove? AC plus AD equal to BC. Now I am going to take BC. BC, from the diagram, BC can be written as that BE plus CE. It can be written like this. BC can be written as BE plus CE. Yeah, EC. Any of the student? Okay, so BC I am going to write, that is CE. BC equal to CE, I had used it EC, so I am going to write BC equal to EC plus BE plus BE. Okay, here it is a straight line segment. So here it is a point on the BC. So if you are going to add these two parts of the line segment, that is equal to BC. Again, now BC equal to, students, here in the equation 1, you had proved that EC equal to AC. That you had given already proved. EC and AC are equal. So from the equation 1, you can replace EC by AC. EC can be replaced by AC. Here you had already given the proof of this. EC and AC are equal. So here you need to, yes, don't unmute. Kindly mute yourself. So here I can write at the place of EC here, that is AC. That I am going to write it from equation 1. And here it is used BE. BE. And BE can be written as, it is equal to BE. BE and DE are equal. So BE can, at the place of BE we can write DE from here. At the place of BE we can write DE. Again BC equal to AC plus, and in equation 2 you have written DE equal to AD. So at the place of DE we can write AD. So it is BC equal to AC plus AD. And in the question it was given that you need to prove AC plus AD equal to BC. So now it is proved. BC equal to AC plus AD. Now if anyone having the doubt regarding this, then ask me. Yes, yes, Raj. Got it clear how to solve? It is a little bit complicated. Here you can find why it is complicated. Reason is that one construction you need to do, and after that you are going to prove these two congruence and certain more property you are going to apply in this smaller triangle. So and after that you are going to make these three equation, and these three equation will be used in the proof of that whatever the in the question it is given, whatever to prove. So that three equation will be used. So again, if anyone having the doubt regarding this, if anyone having the doubt, then he or she can ask me. Okay. Now One more question was asked. Yes, Sudhanshu had joined the class. Sudhanshu Yadav. So, may I erase that? Yes, may I erase it? Yeah, anyone? Okay. Yes, now Sudhanshu. Yes, if Sudhanshu is there in the class, so kindly reply me. Sudhanshu, you had given me one question, so I got it from in the R.S. Agarwal book. Whatever the question was there in the given figure, one figure was there, so I'm going to draw the figure first. So all of you need to focus on the board, whatever the diagram is given. So the diagram is given like this. Uh, it is one line segment, and after that, it is given like this, and then, and after that, from here, okay, so whatever the question asked by the Sudhanshu, Sudhanshu asked me one question that was based on this diagram. Yes, Sudhanshu, it is diagram is correct now. Okay. So in the question, this diagram was given. Now I am going to read the statement. Okay, so that it will be clear what you need to find in the question. It is given that in the given figure, line AB and CD intersect at O. The side CA and OB are produced up to the point E and F respectively. So here you are going to find it. OB is going to be produced up to point F, and here it is CA is going to be produced up to the point E. So that is given in the diagram also. And you are given that angle, these angles are given in the question. That is the statement also given. And here you need to find, in this diagram, you need to find that what is the value of x plus y. You need to find the value of x plus y. So in the diagram you are going to find that x and y are the measure of the angle. So it means that here you need to find the angle x as well as angle y, and you need to add both the angles, so that will be your answer. So any of the students who can find the value of x, one triangle is there in which if you are going to take the triangle CAO, so in the triangle CAO these two angles are given. So how you will find the value of x? That will be 80 plus 40. That is by exterior angle property. That will be by exterior angle property. So if in a triangle one side is extended, so whatever the exterior angle is going to be formed, that is equal to sum of the opposite two interior angle. You can apply that property, or you can apply the simple angle sum property of the triangle. If it is 80 plus 40, 120 degrees, so it will be 60 degrees by angle sum property of the triangle. And if it is 60 degrees, so what will be the value of x? That will be 180 minus 60 degrees, so it will be 120 degrees. So any other way you can apply. So here you can get, if you are going to solve, so x, it is equal to 80 degree plus 40 degree. It is the exterior angle property of the triangle. So x equal to 120 degree. So here in this diagram I got the value of x, that is 120 degree. Now to find the x plus y is also required. So now y is given here. Now whatever the triangle is given for the BOD, here only one angle is given. But here you can find these two angles. What these two angles are called? That are called the vertical opposite angles. If two lines are going to intersect like this, so whatever the angles are found that opposite, these are called the vertically opposite angle. And if two lines intersect, then vertically opposite angles are equal. So here, if it is 40 degree, then it will be also 40 degree. Reason you can give, these are the vertically opposite angles. Now again here in the triangle BOD, you are having the two angles, so you can find the value of y. Either you can apply the exterior angle property of here you can find 70 plus 40, that will be 110 degree, so it will be 70 degree. So it will be 180 minus 70, that will be 110. So here you can write y equal to 70 degree plus 40 degree. So here it can be written as y equal to 110 degree. So I got the value of both x and y, and in the question it was asked that what is the value of x plus y, so it is equal to 120 degree plus 110 degree, that will be 230 degree. So that is the answer, x plus y will be 230 degree. So now Sudhanshu, it is clear? Okay. So now that is the way. So students, this question is based on the lines and angles. I think that question you have taken from the chapter lines and angles. So if you are going to solve these type of question where diagram is given, some angles are given, and you need to find the x, y, z, whatever the variables are there. So you can apply any of the state property which you had earlier studied. Like here you are going to apply the exterior angle property. Somewhere you will apply the concept of the parallel line. So whatever the concept you have read, that you need to apply in the question to find the angles. So now it is going to be completed. Now if any other students having the problem regarding the triangle chapter, otherwise I will I am going to revise the statistics. So if anyone having the problem. Okay, so now I am going to give the revision of the statistics. So kindly open the chapter statistics in your book. Okay students, now in the very beginning of the chapter statistics, some explanation of given about the statistics. So here I am going to summarize that statistics is the branch of mathematics where you are going to collect the information, you are going to collect the data, and on that data you are going to do some work. So that is the statistics. So students, data you can, information you can collect by two ways. One is the primary data and one is the secondary data. So any students who can differentiate between both, what is the primary data and what is the secondary data? So if that's good. Okay, so primary data, if if the investigator is going to collect the data, that is called the primary data for him. Suppose that if you are going to collect any data, that will be primary data for you. But if you are going to take any information from somewhere else, like from the newspaper, from the television, from the internet, so that you had not collected, that is called the secondary data. I'm going to take an example. Suppose that if you are going to find the COVID-19 cases that are going to be given in the different newspaper, whatever the number of cases are there. So that you are going to find from internet, from the newspaper. So that data is called the secondary data for you. Got it clear? You are not going to collect that data. But if you are going to collect any data by yourself, like if you are going to count the number of students in your number of students in the your locality, that is called the primary data for you, if you are going to collect that. So that is the two types of data, primary data and secondary data. So any students who is having the problem regarding primary and secondary data? Any confusion regarding this? Okay. So exercise 14.1, only these two definitions are given. What is the primary data and what is the secondary data? If you are going to read the question, only two questions are there. It is given that give 5 examples of data that you can collect from your day-to-day life and classify the data in question number 1 as primary or secondary data. So in both the question, in first question it is given that take the 5 examples of the different types of data going to be collected, and in the second you need to classify that which of the given data are primary and which are secondary. So that I had explained in the very beginning of the chapter also. Now next one is the presentation of the data. So students, if you are going to present the data, if you are going to collect certain information or certain numerical data, So that you are going to present in different ways. Sometimes you are going to present the data in the tabular form, in the table format you are going to present. Yes, sometimes you are going to present the same data in the graphical format. So these type of are called the presentation of the data. All of you are going to find that tabular form, in the table format it will be given. If you are going to see the newspaper, in the newspaper also whatever the COVID cases are there in the different countries, that is going to be presented in the table. So that is the tabular form. What the newspaper is going to do, he is going to collect the total cases from different countries and he is going to represent all the data in the table format. So that is called the tabular format. Sometimes you are going to get the same data in the graphical form, in the graph. Like suppose that if country-wide data is going to be represented in the graph, so that is called the graphical representation. So you can represent the data in these two ways. One is tabular form in the table format and second is the graphical representation. So if you are going to represent the data in the tabular form, so that will be represented in two ways. One is group frequency and second is ungroup. So especially in your syllabus, group frequency is given. So there are two types of group frequency. One is continuous group. So if you are going to group the data in the continuous, it is like this: 5 to 10 if I am going to write, 10 to 15, 15 to 20. So that is called the continuous group. Why it is the continuous group? Any of the students who can explain me why it is continuous? One of the students, yes. Here 5, first value, that is again it is started from 10. Here it is going to be finished at 15. Again it is started from 15. So here in each and every class, first value is called the lower limit. That is called lower limit. And what is the value that is given after this? That is called upper limit. Upper limit. So students, if you are going to represent the data in such a form that upper limit of the previous class becomes the lower limit of the next class, that is called the continuous data. If I am going for the discontinuous, so in the discontinuous it will be like that. If I am going to write 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 20 to 24. So that is also a representation in like the group frequency, but it is the discontinuous. Why it is discontinuous? Here it is going to be finish at 9 and next value is going to start from 10. Here you are going to get the gap between both. So if you are going to get the gap between two successive upper and lower limit, so that is called the discontinuous. So got the difference between both type of representation, continuous and discontinuous. If anyone having the reason is that whatever your syllabus is there, that is only based on these type of representation, continuous group and discontinuous. One more is there, class size. Now I am going for the class size. What is called the class size? So any students who can explain me what is the class size? Students, if you are going to find the class, as I had given the formula in the previous video also, class size equal to upper limit minus lower limit. Upper limit minus lower limit. If I am going to ask that what is the class size of 5 to 10? Class size of 5 to 10. So what is the upper limit in 5 to 10? That is 10. And what is the lower limit in 5 to 10? That is 5. So 10 minus 5, that is equal to 5. So class size of this one is the 10 minus 5, 5. So upper limit minus lower limit, that is called the class size. One more term is used in your book, that is class mark. So if anyone who can give me the formula for the class mark, what is the class mark? Yes, very good. That is class mark equal to upper limit plus lower limit upon 2. So if I'm going to ask that what is the class mark for the group 5 to 10, so here upper limit is 10, lower limit is 5, so 10 plus 5 upon 2, that is equal to 15 by 2, yeah, it is equal to 7.5. So class mark for the 5 to 10, here I am going to get the class mark and class size for the class interval 5 to 10. So for 5 to 10, class size is 5, and for 5 to 10, class mark is 7.5. So got the difference between both class size and class mark. Okay, so that is the class size and class mark. So now one more word is there that I am going to explain. Kindly open the exercise. So from there I will explain that. Exercise 14.2. Students, if you had solved these questions, you had made the table for all the questions. All of you had made the table for these. In some of the question, you had represented the given value in the group frequency and some simply in the frequency distribution. So any problem in this type of question? Exercise 14.2. That is the very simple question. You are going to use the tally mark and you are going to represent each and every value. So if anyone having the confusion regarding any question in this exercise 14.2. Okay, that are the very basic question. Whatever the table you are going to format for, only one way you need to apply. If you are going to solve a question where it is given certain, like here you are going to get that many values are given, many numerical values are given. So if in the question paper it is asked like the question represent given value in the group frequency, so what you need to do, you need to represent one by one, like with the help of tally mark, so there will be no any mistake. One more term is there, that is range of data. Range of data. So students, what is called the range of data? Range in the, yes, very good. Whatever the data are given, suppose that if you are given the certain numerical value, here I am going to write one example. If I am going to write the numerical value, suppose that 25, 13, 10, 15, 7, 39, 12, I have written the these value. And if I am going to ask that what is the range, what is the range? So range, that will be the highest value. And what is the highest value in given values? That is 39. No, for the range you are not supposed to write in the ascending order. The reason is that only you need to find the highest and lowest value, so that you can find by the given numerical value. So what is the highest value in the given data? That is 39. Minus, what is the lowest value? Here it is 7. So 39 minus 7, and 39 minus 7, that is equal to 32. So here range, so you can give the formula for the range, that is highest value minus lowest value in the given data. So suppose that if certain numerical values are given and it is asked that what is the range of the data, so what you need to do, you need to find the highest value as well as lowest value and subtract both the value, so that will be the range of the data. So in this exercise 14.2, in the sum of the question, it was asked that what is the range of the data. Like in the question number 3rd, if you are having the book, that is given on the page number 245. Question number third part is asked, what is the range of this data? So what you have done, there are the many numerical value. For the question number 3rd, you are going to get many numerical value are there, but the formula will be same. In all the numerical value, first you will find the highest value, then lowest value, and then you will subtract, that will be the range of the data. So that is given in the exercise 14.2. So I think that is the very simple exercise. Only you need to represent with the help of tally mark, so that can be represented. Now, if you are going for the exercise 14.3, that is based on the graph. So here 3 types of graph are there. First one is the bar graph, second histogram, and third frequency polygon. But whatever the your new syllabus is there for this year, according to that, frequency polygon is removed from your syllabus. All of you are having that syllabus now? Yes, students. So according to that, frequency polygon is removed for this session. So only you need to read about these two types of graph, that is the bar graph and a histogram. And in the histogram also certain parts are removed, that are the question number 8th and 9th given on the page number 261. So these type of question from the histogram that are also removed. So only you need to go for the question number 1 to 5th. Only question number 1 to 5th are there. So students, bar graph, all of you had represented the given value in the bar graph in the class 8th also. So if you are going to represent any value in the bar graph, it will be like that. All of you are represented like this. So that is the y-axis, and here it is the x-axis. You are going to take the both the axis, and after that you are going to represent certain value, and that height of that each bar, that will be depend on the value. Its height is less than this, it means that its value will be less than this. Suppose that it is the marks. Here I am going to write, here if I am going to write subject, and here I am going to write marks. And if I am going to write, suppose that maths, here it is Hindi, here it is suppose that science. Suppose that if I am going to take the marks of a student, and if I am going to make a bar graph according to their marks, and if I am going to get this, so this graph shows that the student got the highest marks in Hindi. At the second number he got the marks in the maths, and science, that was on the third. So height of that graph will decide that which value is greater and which is smaller. So all of you have represented this. Certain properties of this graph are there. There should be equal gap between each and every rectangle. These are the rectangles. So what you need to do, there should be equal gap. Suppose that if you are going to give this much of gap, so after that again this gap will be here, and after that you will draw the next rectangle, and again you will give the graph, then you will draw the next rectangle. So that is one of the property. Second, whatever the width, that width of the rectangle is there, that will be same for each. It means if the width of this is 1 centimeter, so its width will be also 1 centimeter. Only height is going to be differ. Height may be differ, but whatever the width is there, that will be same. So that is the bar graph. So in the question exercise 14.3, question number 1, 2 and 3, that are related to bar graph. So if anyone having the problem regarding that, so he or she can ask me. That is the very simple part. All of you have represented this kind of value in the 8th also. So yes, students, anyone having the doubt? Okay. So now, okay, students. So if you are not having the doubt, so I'm going to conclude it here. So today we had discussed about the statistics. Again, I'm going to summarize that whatever we had discussed today. So first, in the statistics, two types of data, primary data and secondary data. And after that, we had discussed the two types of group. One is the continuous group frequency, second discontinuous group frequency. After that, we had discussed the class mark, class size, range of the data, and after that, bar graph. So up to here, I'm going to explain, and tomorrow class again we will discuss about the histogram. So if anyone having the doubt up to here, then he or she can ask me.